Coming straight from the underground.
SD, I represent.
Coming straight from the
West Side.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everybody is having a great day. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground. I'm your host, Phil. All right. Well, more hopium. The worst of the downside may be behind us. Of course, we've got charts that are going to show us how that's most likely the case. I know I'm buying it. I'll tell you that much. The monthly Bollinger bands, right? We talk about this almost on a daily basis, but this is the source of a lot of hopium, right? Look, if history rhymes, this could be a good thing. The next BTC monthly blue diamond takes us to 200K. And you're probably wondering, the hell is this blue diamond? We're going to take a look at that. 220K might be the minimum target. But before we get there, Bitcoin needs to retake 82K while we sit at 75.1. But on the positive note, Bitcoin is more or less 42% below its power law fair value. And we all love the power law fair value because that number is far off from where we are now. Approximately $131,000. A lot of variation here, right? There's some disparity going on. The pain trade. That's something I don't like to be a contrarian, but it often ends up happening. But if you're on the side of the pain trade for this one, you might not be happy. We're going to talk about the Strait of Hormuz again, or Hormuz, and Bitcoin, right? We're seeing again some news that may indicate that Bitcoin's being used. Did a little more digging. Some people might not be happy with what I found, but it's what I found. So we're going to dive into that. The 5 transactions that burned 107 Bitcoin, right? They sent it to the Bitcoin burn address. The giant mystery. Andrew Ross Sorkin has got a book about how the market's going to crash. And we've also got a clip about how he's going to tell us how the market's going to crash. So we're going to take a look at that. Joe Nakamoto did a fantastic video about France, and we are going to take a look at that. Obviously, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but it is in the show notes, and it is some pretty scary stuff, guys, the wrench attack stuff. I got to tell you. Definitely not something that I enjoy talking about. However, it's very important that we're aware. And I received a new collectible, a Bitcoin collectible. Anyways, it's going to be a fun show. Let's freaking do it. Here we go, guys. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right, before we dive into the numbers, I'm going to say good morning to some folks. Good morning, Michael, or Michelson. Good morning, Saratoshi. Good morning, Leroy. Good morning, BTC Pins. All right, let's dive into it. So the current Bitcoin fiat exchange, 75,143. New all-time high on the block height, 951,277. We're still looking at 1 sat per V-byte. Say it ain't so. I'm so happy to say that all the time. I really am. Not because it's so cheap, but just because it destroys narratives. It plainly destroys narratives. It's fantastic. Hey, good morning, Sandy. We're going to take a look at one of your posts today. We take a look at your posts pretty often. I enjoy it. Shout out to Sani. If you guys don't follow Sani on Twitter, you should. Anyways, let's continue here. Total public lightning capacity. What the hell happened? We were up 5,292. It's like we lost 700 Bitcoin in the public lightning capacity. Sometimes I don't know about these numbers. I don't know about these numbers sometimes with the total public lightning capacity. Anyways, 300,564 eggs per Bitcoin. You're still 19% of a house. It's going to be crazy when this gets all the way up to 1, right? It's going to be nuts when essentially the average home is just 1 Bitcoin. And then it just starts to get less and less. Or did I just go in reverse? Nope, didn't go in reverse. I'm all there. All right. Anyways, let's continue. Yeah, sometimes I have fuzzy math and my math ain't mathing, So, okay, let's dive into it, guys. Here we go. We've got, let's kick it off. The charts, boom. I love the Cantonese cat. I don't know. This guy started popping up in my timeline, and I appreciate his Bollinger Band hopium. And of course, he's doing the great comparison with copper gold, guys. I got to tell you, I am not fading this. As much noise as there is, I am just not fading this because indeed, they are the tightest ever. We were talking about this last night on Bitcoin Tonight, and I'm telling you guys, and of course, I can't give you a timeline because that's just nonsense. But these moves, when this type of behavior happens, is explosive in either direction. And this is why stay solvent, right? Keep your head on straight. Don't wreck yourself. Brought to you by Pleb Underground. Okay, the Titan of crypto, the Bitcoin pattern worth watching. Historically, Bitcoin's bottom formed after 2 consecutive lighter red bars on the monthly logarithmic MACD histogram. May hasn't closed yet. History rhymes. The worst of the downside may be behind us. And that's right, our hopium is hinging on a lightly shaded red line. I mean, look, I appreciate it, right? Look, we're all humans, appreciate the patterns. I appreciate the pattern making. I appreciate the pattern seeing. Let's see what happens, guys, because look, if you look back in history, right? Again, I'm not trying to destroy it for myself, but I'm just being honest. You look back in history, you can kind of see that we had those patterns where it got lighter and then all of a sudden it didn't really shift momentum just yet. Yeah, pretty much. But it's light red. It's not pink. It's light red. I don't know. I guess there's some discrepancy between the two, the pink and the light red. I'm guessing the pink means we're closer to green. Yeah, this is where we are in the cycle, guys. We're just begging for shapes, for colored shapes. This is what's happening. Okay, so this is an interesting account. I think the next BTC monthly blue diamond takes us to 200K. Now, this is maybe the second time I've ever talked about this blue diamond hopium. I think I discussed this like 5-6 months ago. Just like how the previous one took it from around 23K to 125. So already, right? Already I'm concerned because the bottom was closer to 15K and we went to 127. So the math already ain't mathing on this chart, okay? And then, of course, right, it's all about him selling his suite. But take a look at that. Huh? Take that any way you want. 200K sounds great. He totally missed the bottom. He totally missed the top. The ranges don't even make sense. I don't know what to say on that one. Good luck. Okay, here we go. Some crypto Tice stuff. Yeah, this is an interesting one. And I really wish that I never looked at chart patterns. That way I could maintain this hopium. Here we go. I'm sorry, but Bitcoin just completed a pattern that takes years to build. Okay, fair enough. That may be true. And almost nobody noticed. A lot of us are paying attention. Multi-year cup and handle complete. What? Breakout done. Perfect retest done. Structure confirmed, done. Cup and handle breakouts don't move 20%. Okay, I mean, that's true. They move hundreds of percent. Yeah. When they break out hard, yes. The retest just finished. The launch is next. 220K is the minimum target. This is what I love. This is absolutely what I love. Most people will only find out after it happens. Okay. Let's just watch this very quickly. Now look, I'm not disagreeing that this giant arc that he drew here is in the shape of a cup. However, this thing here on the right, it's not a handle. That's a wedge. I don't even trade for a living. You know what I mean? Like, it's like all I did is just some basic, right? Once upon a time, I used to trade as an amateur while I was working full time, right? Stocks. This is long before Bitcoin existed. And I mean, that's clearly an opening wedge. So, I don't know. All right. And there we go. You had to dive into it to go take a look. So here we go. It's not a cup and handle. It's not how that's how dumb these creators are trying to perform TA for clickbait, which is working because it has me commenting on how effing retarded you are. A cup and handle slowly pulls back over time. It don't run sideways and up like an expanding wedge you have there. And this is great. This is why you got to love Grok, right? Grok comes back in and goes, no, it's not a textbook cup and handle. The large U-shaped cup on the weekly chart is a decent rounded bottom fit, but the right side handle is a choppy sideways up action resembling more of an expanding wedge. The reality is that, yeah, exactly. This is just meant to fit the 220K narrative. Now, look, of course, we've got the power law stuff. Like, it's not just all based on this, but the point of this is that, you know, even though the hopium is fun, and even though, you know, we get excited about the possibilities, got to remember that a lot of this is just engagement farming, right? And for me, this is just entertainment. Not gonna lie though, sometimes I do get hopium from it, right? Sometimes I'm like, maybe this time it's different. It's okay, can't get out of our own way. All right, some Ansel Lindner hopium, something a little bit more realistic, right? Because while people are talking about 220K, we had Josh Mandel at 444K, which still waiting on that. Well, Ansel Lindner is giving us the objective take that most likely will not get us wrecked. Bitcoin needs to retake 82K. And this goes back to the messaging that's, you know, been talking about for a couple of weeks, right? It's nice that we're sitting grinding in this range. However, in order to start seeing a real momentum to the upside, we need to turn that 80K range into support. And more importantly, right? Yes, we need to retake 82. But a step further, we need to turn 85 into support, right? 85 to 87. All right, some Durden hopium. Here we go. Bitcoin, 42% below its power law fair value of 131K. Oscillator reading 4 of 100. Cheaper than 96% of history. That's the signal. 12-month median return from this zone historically, 112%. Let's go. Let's go. What are we at? 74? Send it. Send it 112%, man. Do it. Do it. Nice chart. I appreciate the colors. Very sophisticated, isn't it? Marketers of crappy products could probably learn a lot from these two guys. Sorry, he's one person. I forgot the bad Fight Club joke. Anyways, 2 lines in the pink something. Yeah, exactly, BTC pins. You know, it's the colors of the, you know, if we're not focusing on the colors of these lines and how dense they are, we're just missing the forest for the trees. This is really what's happening here. Okay, here we go. Some Francafetta. Let's do it. The Bears are still waiting for the, there you go. There you go, BTC pins, the magic pink. There you go, the magic pink box. I've learned that the pain trade is never higher. Okay, quickly, the pain trade is the trade on the other side of the momentum. Like, for example, right, the people who have been shorting AI all the way up, right? Right now, that's the pain trade. Indeed, they may be right at some point in the future if they don't get wrecked on the way up, but that is the pain trade right now. Going against the grain is the pain trade. So here we go. The short-term hodler cost basis is 78K. I love this. This is some good wording. The vaulted price. This is the price that we keep safe, keep it secure up there in the clouds. Nobody can touch it. Even we can't touch it yet. So there you go. Ah, yes, the Bears are still waiting for 55K. Some of them are waiting for 52. Some of them are waiting for 42. I believe last night on the show, Humble was alluding to some 37K action. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about the Strait, the Strait of Hormuz, guys. So here's another post from Ansel, paid in BTC. Okay, and again, he's right. I don't know if we can confirm this. Of course, it's been rumored. If this is the case, it's absolutely massive. True. Okay, no question there. And a step along the way to BTC as a global reserve asset. Exactly. Right. It's never just one thing. It is the confluence of all these events that starts to matter. Right. It's not each individual event in a vacuum. That doesn't make a difference. This is good for a 10x easily. Hey, good morning, Matt. Good morning, Hard Huddle. Okay, let's see here. So he was retweeting the Crypto Rover post, right? In the last 72 hours, Iran's IRGC waved 100 tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so obviously we had to do a little bit of digging on this because this is something that we've been talking about, not just us, pretty much, I think almost every single Bitcoin show has been talking about this, right? Essentially trying to get some kind of confirmation if anything is happening out there. Good morning, Verhoofdy. So as of this moment, right, there are no confirmed reports of successful Bitcoin transactions actually clearing for passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, that doesn't mean that the Hormuz safe program that was announced isn't real, right? I believe that is real. I believe that they are going to accept to me, I don't see why they would accept anything else besides Bitcoin, because Tether has already proven and that the funds can be frozen. I mean, we already knew that anyways, but we already had a real world example of that in the last couple of weeks. So I'm not saying that this is like, oh no, Hormuz safe is fake and it's all scam. No, what I'm saying is that nobody has actually started to pay in Bitcoin yet. Okay. Now, through further digging, right? Let's keep going. Okay. So the official policy, right? What is actually happening out there? Iran authorities mandated a toll system charging $1 per barrel, right? This is something we've confirmed. No proven transit. Experts and monitoring groups have yet to verify any legitimate international vessel, right? So it's not about necessarily confirming that there's a Bitcoin transaction per se. From the perspective of actually getting a legitimate international vessel to confirm that they've paid is a different story. Okay? This is interesting. And this is something that I don't think I've heard mentioned at all up until now, right? Because everybody seems to be so excited to say that they're going to use Bitcoin and that they are using Bitcoin. Instead of facilitating secure passage, cryptocurrency framework has reportedly been used as a scam. Oh my gosh, no way. Fraudulent operators have lured ships into the Strait with promise of safe transit. This sounds familiar, resulting in vessels being fired upon by military forces when they attempted to pass. Okay? And of course, sanctions and hesitancy. Even without the scam element, mainstream shipping and insurance companies are highly reluctant to participate in these cryptocurrency payment mechanisms. Now, a little more digging, and we find this is actually two different pieces, okay? But Reuters originally reported on this, and this is back from April 22nd, right? Crypto scammers are targeting the thousands of ships stranded near the Strait of Hormuz, and at least one ship that faced Iranian gunfire may have been tricked into believing it had paid Iran for safe passage. The first warning of such a crypto scam came from the Greek maritime risk management company Marisks on May 20th, according to Reuters. The company alerted ship owners that scammers posing as Iranian authorities had sent messages to shipping companies asking for transit fee payments in Bitcoin or Tether, which is exactly the news we've been hearing. We've been not hearing about the scammer part. We've been hearing about the part where there's a demand for Bitcoin or Tether, right? Good morning, Plastic. Good morning, We Satoshi. think I already said good morning to Verhoofdy, but good morning again. So, yeah, that's and this doesn't surprise me at all. This is why it's fun, right? It's entertaining to report on these things. However, it's like I'll believe it when I can actually believe it. Right now, it's just entertaining, it's fun, it's noise, right? Oh yeah, they're accepting Bitcoin. Huge, pump my bags. But are they? Always seems to be the scammers taking advantage, right? Even in that the Nancy Guthrie case, right? The lady just went missing, right? Savannah Guthrie's mother's just vanished. And immediately one of the first things that comes out is that somebody is essentially asking for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is ransom. And it turns out it's not the actual quote unquote kidnapper. It's just some rando trying to get Bitcoin. You know? Let's frickin' go. That's what it's all about, man. And we're just a group that's getting smaller and smaller, right? People, it's the new Bitcoiners that come into the space. There's still some plebs, but for the most part, it's a bunch of TradFi bros and people looking for slop. So that's okay. That's okay. That's just how it goes. All right, Sanny, let's go. People are wondering why, right? This is the big question. Phil C tagged me in a post yesterday about this, and that is exactly. I am also trying to figure out why. So look, we're going to go over the basic generic versions of why, but I'm really curious if we're ever going to get a real answer. But yes, someone just broadcasted 5 transactions totaling 107 Bitcoin to the Bitcoin burn address. Rest in peace, future generational wealth. Oh, this is funny. People will believe this, but won't believe that the exchanges have more than 3. Yeah, dude, forget it, man. Forget it. I don't even know what to say. It's exactly what it is. It's just pure mental gymnastics, right? Because don't forget, right? This feeds in. Sandy, you make a good point. Like this feeds into the, the whole scarcity aspect of it, right? Like this is like, look at this. This is virtuous, right? Virtuous, burning tokens for the network. Pump my bags. All right. So these are just generic reasons, okay? But this is what we've got, right? Proof of burn, which that's only shitcoin stuff. So I've yet to encounter a Bitcoiner, AI agent mistake. Maybe somebody gave their Bitcoin wallet access they shouldn't have, and the agent figured, hey, this is the best way to serve everybody. It's a very good point, Plastic. Yeah, they must have been super pissed. Damn this generational wealth, I'll show you. Okay, so look, proof of burn is for shitcoiners. If there is a Bitcoiner that has that does this or has done this, I'm going to say that it was in the distant past. Okay, I'm going to say that this was like back in like the 2009 to 2011 era, because Bitcoin was worth relatively little to nothing, and you can, proof of burn was maybe fun, but today's, I just don't see a person doing this now. It's just shitcoiny stuff. Okay, accidental loss. Yeah, that's we're gonna chalk that up to the AI agent mistake. Good call, Plastic. I would tend to agree with this. And again, the proof of burn tribute or proof of concept. Some early developers or blockchain researchers burn coins again, this is shitcoin stuff, guys. So really the only reasons we have, real reasons, is made up shitcoin excuse or a mistake. Definitely a mistake. Generational wealth. Rip. Okay. Andrew Ross Sorkin wrote a book about the 1929 crash. As you could imagine, he's pretty afraid these days. He's pretty afraid. Let's imagine believing a president. Imagine believing, forget about the president. Imagine believing a single person has that power. All right. Well, you know what? At this point, I want to get hired by CNBC or MSNBC or whatever slop house because guess what? I can do Andrew's job too. I believe that one day we're going to pump. Then one day we're going to dump. Bit of both is going to happen too. I can't tell you when. I'm telling you, it's all freaking gaslighting. Yep. Guys, we're going to have a crash. Okay? There's been crashes before. You know what else we're going to have? We're going to have a pump. Do you know how long most of these crashes last? Often not more than 2 years. Do you know how long the bull cycles that take place after these massive crashes? Years. Okay? Like 3 times as long as the bear markets. Yeah. He really, you know what? And it's so funny, Verhoofdy, that you mentioned the weathermen. I remember when I first started working in my normie job, and I remembered the feeling that I had of essentially like, you know, most of us, we don't have we can't really make too many mistakes, right? The more meticulous your work, the less capable you are of making mistakes. And of course, right, guys like Andrew Ross Sorkin and the weatherman, it doesn't make a difference. It's completely irrelevant. Like these guys can be totally wrong. They're never going to lose their jobs. They're not going to lose their jobs for being wrong. But it's interesting because depending on your work, you may lose your job by being wrong too often. But these guys never do. It's so true. It really is. Now, let's do some perspective stuff, right? Okay, there's going to be a crash. Sure. Just for the sake of it, guys, this is the Dow Jones historical chart going back to 1897. Now, just let me know if you recognize this pattern. It's the pattern of money printing. It's the pattern of up and to the right. Now, indeed, there were crashes. Look, we had one in 2010. Maybe you want to see the crash of 1929? You can't even see it. It's a freaking blip. Okay? So look, I'm not saying, hey guys, it's sunny skies forever. No, it's not. Okay? It's not sunny skies forever. But the reality is that yes, we're going to have crashes. We're going to have pullbacks. You don't need to read a book that was researched for 10 years to figure out that shit's going to happen. You just got to look back at history. Okay? Yes, it happens. People get over exuberant. And then they also get overly bearish and pessimistic. That happens. That's just what it is. When things are overly bearish and pessimistic, if you're solvent and you're able to cover your bills and you have dry powder on the side, that is the time to invest in assets that are being sold for significantly less than they are worth. It's all there is. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Yeah, exactly, Roman. Like it's just the fear peddling, you know? It's always the fear peddling. You know who got wrecked the worst in like the great financial crisis? I mean, I'm not, and again, I'm painting with a broad brush, but you know, the people that sold the bottoms, right? The people that sat there and wanted the pain to stop because they didn't want to look at their portfolio anymore. So instead of just not looking at their portfolio and continuing to live their lives, they did something about it. They stopped the pain by selling, right? And again, to each their own. Everybody has different goals, right? If that's what you want to do, by all means, do your stuff, you know? But dumping into a crisis, it's probably one of the worst mistakes you're going to make, especially if you don't have to do this, especially if you can cover your bills and you're solvent. It's a complete waste of time. And a ruiner of your future wealth. But like I said, guys, everybody's situations are different. And that's okay. Right? That's okay. Yeah, thank you, BTC Pins. Makes the permanent loss, right? Instead of it just being the psychological pain of seeing the number go down, now you've exactly what you said. You have materialized that loss. You've solidified it. You've guaranteed this is where you stop. So, Don't worry, you're not late. You're always on time. You know? That's right. That's right. The people that didn't buy at 60 are still waiting for 40. And you know what? I've said this 1,000 times. When back in 2018 or 2019, when we hit the 3,400 and change, some of the biggest talking heads in the space were saying we were going to 1,700. Okay. And I had dry powder in the 3K level. And I said to myself, I am not listening to these people. I am just going to buy all the way down. If we get down to 1,700, then I'll stack more. But I have to stack this thing. Like this is where, this is significantly lower than where I started stacking. So, which was kind of untrue, but it doesn't matter. I was just doing mental gymnastics to force myself to stack these seemingly painful levels. Now, look, here we are, right? 8 years later. Does it really matter that I stacked at the $3,500 mark? Now, it would have really mattered if I waited till 1,700, right? Because if you waited till 1,700, you never got there, which means you never got to stack the bottom at 3,500. And again, how do you make this possible? You stay solvent. You make sure that you can cover your bills. You make sure that you don't find yourself in a situation where you have to sell Bitcoin at the bottom. Okay? That's right. Smash those likes and please consider subscribing. Who sold? Sold what? Oh, okay. This is the conversation between you and Verhoofdy. Okay. All right, let's go back. Don't worry. We've got more stuff. More stuffs. More recycled stuff. Okay, here we go. Joe Nakamoto. I love his content. I've met Joe once. I believe it was 2022 at the Bitcoin conference. He makes some of the greatest, I find, fantastic content. And, he's one of those like traveling Bitcoiners that goes around and genuinely shows how Bitcoin is being used, right? So, yes, exactly. I mean, look, get a job or be solvent. It's one of the two, right? I mean, let's face it. If you're living off of like some retirement, 401k or something like that income, that's technically solvent too, So, but yeah, it's like we all got to do something. It's not that fun doing nothing. I remember when I think I was like 19 or 20 or something. I got fired from Hewlett Packard, and I found myself without a job, and I was super excited. Right, I was like, all right, I finally get to chill. Keep in mind I was just immature, and let me tell you, chilling is not so fun. Okay, it really isn't. After a few months, if you're doing nothing, your mind starts to come up with things to do. Okay? You know the saying, idle hands are the devil's hands? Yeah, that's what happens, right? If you are not doing something and your brain is not stimulated enough, it will find ways to stimulate itself enough, okay? Which comes usually through the form of worrying, anticipation, anxiety, stuff like that, right? So chilling to a certain extent is a little oversold. Anyways, sorry. Back to the Joe Nakamoto post. Okay, so he put out this great video. The link is in the show notes. Okay, it's like 18 minutes long. 41 kidnappings, guys. 4 months, one country. We're just going to take a look at a preview real quick. Okay.
A woman is dragged along the sidewalk by men in ski masks toward a delivery van.
They point a gun at me, asking where the crypto is, holding me at gunpoint.
I'm good, but I am not in France.
Are you still in France?
I cannot answer this for safety reasons.
I can't travel to France. It's literally not safe enough for me to travel to my home country. And that until the security situation there gets fixed, I can't go back.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He is. And he's, to me, anyways, from my experience, he's been consistent this whole time. Right. I really appreciate his work. So yeah, guys, I mean, look, and again, I'm not showing you this to scare you. It's just about us being aware right? But it is freaky stuff, right? The wrench attack stuff, it is absolutely freaky. That's why, when you see people flexing their stacks online and they're showing you, it's like, I just bought this car, I'm wearing this overpriced crap to show that I can waste resources better than you. I've said this before, and the only reason I say this is because once you've experienced this, you know that it's real. But people need to understand, you don't know how cheap life is in someone else's eyes. Okay, there are not just North America. It doesn't really happen as often, but again, right? You'd think that a country like France, that wouldn't be happening either. Right, they have a pretty high standard of living out there, and yet somehow these people are, the criminals that are doing this, they are proving that life is cheap. Okay, and unfortunately, there are countries where generally life is cheap. Okay, and you got to be really careful. And what that means is that you may think to yourself, well, nobody's going to rob me because I'm only worth 5 zeros or something like that. But you don't realize that when a person has less than nothing, that's everything. Okay, that's more than everything. It's really it's scary stuff. It's definitely scary stuff. I implore any of you guys, all of you guys, to check out that video from Joe. And I mean, I've covered a lot of those stories in isolation, right, throughout the last couple of years. But this is just an excellent video, excellent presentation, and it's all just packaged in one. So really great work, honestly, Joe. Good stuff. Yeah, apparently, right? The French government officials are selling data to criminals. And again, okay, so that brings up a very good point, right? So, how in the States, we have, essentially, we have politicians that are doing insider trading, right? Maybe if they were getting paid enough, right, they wouldn't have to do that. But of course, at the same time, the argument could be made, well, they're not really offering any value to the constituents. Why should they be getting paid more? Right? And that's kind of the problem. So, right. And of course, this all goes back to the broken money, which helps feed corruption. And then, of course, you've got human incentives, right? People are incentivized to do what's right for them individually, personally. So the reality is that as systems break down, corruption ticks up. So insider trading, which is total garbage, is not nearly as bad as selling private citizens' data to get them wrench attacked, right? All of this stuff is crappy, but that's pretty terrible. Roman, I am not joking you, man. Well, I mean, so first of all, I'm a broke dude, so it doesn't matter, right? You're all just listening to some broke dude that bought Bitcoin, and that likes to talk about Bitcoin and doesn't care about Lambos. So, but when it comes to the time to delete the channels, I am not going to lie. I have thought about this multiple times. I genuinely have. And again, because I already had a career before I chose to do this, right? I like talking about Bitcoin. I enjoy these conversations. I like making fun of stuff. I think memes are funny. These videos are funny. It's fun stuff. But yeah, I have absolutely thought of it. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Just let somebody else who wants the spotlight. And they can go and flex their Lambos and all that stuff. But you know what? To a certain extent, man, it's almost like if we delete our channels, where's the signal going to come from? It's just going to be a bunch of salesmen. So, yeah, seriously, Trump did become the king of insider trade. I read something very interesting. I'm sure you guys did too. Don Jr. I saw some article about how before his father became president, he was worth like $600 million or something, $660 million. And now he's worth like 3.3 billion. So yeah, I mean, you're essentially watching a broken money with a broken system play out in real time. This is what it is, right? We were meant to believe that people entered the government to be public servants, but instead, people enter into the government to become public plunderers. And it most likely always has been. Okay. It most likely always has been. Yeah, the faceless channels. I know. I thought of that too. Put on like one of those Guy Fawkes masks or something like that, but then that sucks too. You know? That sucks too. I'm here in the People's Republic of California. I had to stop wearing. Yep, dude. You know what? I had to stop wearing so much BTC gear because the wrong folks kept staring in my directions. Yeah, I don't fear for myself, but yes, exactly. Your kids, your family. You know, it's not even so much that you necessarily care about yourself to a certain extent. It's like you don't want to end up in the situation where your family's being freaking kidnapped for your corn and shit like that. You know, like it's just freaking brutal. But yeah, the BTC gear, right? The BTC gear. I think it didn't take me long. I bought a few Bitcoin t-shirts. I appreciate the hidden messaging ones, right? So if you can do like some good hidden messaging, then I think that that's solid. But the stuff that's like got Bitcoin all over it, like the Bitcoin Nike shoes and stuff like that, like, look, you're just, I think that there's a lot of people who maybe, all right, as a Gen Xer, it's an old Gen X story, but kids used to get killed for Air Jordans, right? Kids were getting beaten up. Kids were getting stabbed for Air Jordans and Air Maxes and Andre Agassi's and stuff like that, okay? This is like mid 80s, 90s. Oh yeah, ACP. Did you not know that? So of course, right? MicroStrategy, because apparently you don't need real products, you just need to sell slop. But yeah, MicroStrategy did a collaboration with Nike and did some Bitcoin crossover shoe, you know? That's crazy stuff. It is. Anyways, British Knights. Oh my gosh, you must be a Gen Xer. I had a pair of British Knights when I was in grade 5. I remember my parents drove me to Plattsburgh. I was begging for them, right? It was like the coolest shoes at the time, BKs. I remember I had to go to Plattsburgh to buy them because Foot Locker in Canada was like, no, those aren't moccasins. Yes, believe it or not, shopping in Canada, as you could imagine, was absolutely awful, especially in the 80s and 90s, okay? They didn't have your size, and they most likely didn't have the shoe you wanted. Interestingly enough, right? This is true. Kids got killed for Air Jordans, but not Reebok pumps. It's a good point. And the pump was a really cool shoe. It really was. Anyways, speaking of fun stuff, right? Not the killing people, but the collector stuff and everything. I finally got it. The Bitcoin Rubik's Cube. That's right. Look at that. Yay. I'm such a nerd for stuff like this. Yeah. And as you know, I'm just going to keep this thing in mint forever. I got 2 of them. So that if I ever get the urge to sell one, I always have one in mint. Yeah, I love stuff like this. This is, when it comes to the Bitcoin swag, I'm a big fan. Bitcoin Rubik's Cube. I don't know how many are left. I don't know if they've sold out or anything. Supposedly they only made, I don't remember how many, but they're not numbered, or at least I didn't see the number anywhere, but it does have a little hologram on it. Anyways, Bitcoin Rubik's Cube, good stuff. Guys, please don't forget, sign the petition. Sign the petition. Even though we have a lot of fun on this show and we joke around and make fun of opium dealers and stuff, these guys wrote privacy preserving code. All they were doing was helping collaborative spends. That is a threat to the government. That is a threat to the mechanism of violence enforcement. So these guys are now losing the most precious thing to them, their time. Please consider signing the petition. If you feel so inclined, please consider donating as well. Guys, that does it. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun. I did. And again, I always really appreciate you all in the chat talking with me and giving some great suggestions, right? The AI thing from Plastic. That's right. Maybe it's AI that screwed up that 107 Bitcoin. Who knows? Anyways, guys, I'm trying to think if I have any other announcements or something. Oh, yeah. We're going to start doing Bitcoin tonight instead of Monday night. We're moving it to Tuesday night. Just a heads up. So next week, we're going to be doing Bitcoin tonight on Tuesday night again. So have a great rest of the day. I will catch you all tomorrow. Take it easy.